Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2024 Ford Maverick, we're going to be showing you how to install the Truxedo TruXport soft roll-up tonneau cover. But before we do that, let's take a minute, check this one out, and make sure it's going to be the right setup for you. There are a lot of different tonneau covers out on the market, and what one is going to be best for you, I really just feel like depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So if you're someone who's just trying to keep the stuff in your bed out of sight, for the most part pretty dry, and have something that's easy to use, this will definitely be a good option for you. On the other hand, if you're someone that is trying to keep the contents inside of your bed secure, and so on and so forth, one of the ones that are made from a harder material might be a better selection. With that said though, aesthetically speaking, I actually think this looks pretty good. You know, for being a roll-up tonneau cover, it's got a relatively low profile, so doesn't stand out by any means, at least in my opinion. And it actually fits pretty good. And a lot of times when you're doing these soft covers, they just, at least from my experience, they're always just a little off or don't really fit exactly you know, how you'd expect them to. And that's not the case at all with this one. Matter of fact, I've done quite a bit of these Truxedo brand style of covers, and honestly that seems to kind of hold true across the board. As far as how this thing works, it's really straightforward, not really a whole lot to it there. When you're ready to open it up, on each end here you're going to have a latch mechanism that you can pull down on. That'll release it, and you just roll it all the way up to the front of your truck. And once it is there, all the way rolled up, you are going to lose a little bit of visibility because it is going to cover up the back window. I'd say maybe halfway, if that. So you can still see what's going on behind you. And if you need to roll this up to put something tall in the bed, you got these buckles here that allow you to more or less lock that into position. If your truck happens to have this rail system in it, to me it looks like the cover is not going to interfere at all with it. At least with our handle here, you know, you can still move it around completely. Of course too, it depends on what accessory you're using in here. Worst case scenario, even if it were to interfere at some point, which I really don't see where it would other than maybe this middle clamp, you can always move this forward or back just a little bit to clear whatever you got. I do want to address one of the big misconceptions a lot of people have when it comes to tonneau covers, and a lot of people assume that when you have one installed, they're going to keep your bed completely dry. And that's just not the case. You know, just being realistic, I don't care if you got the cheapest cover or the most expensive one, water can find its way in. Now, with that said, the cover's gonna help tremendously, right? But don't expect to, you know, after a heavy rain to open this up and not see a drip of water, because it's just not realistic. You'll probably have a little bit of moisture back there, and kind of is what it is, right? As far as the quality of this, the vinyl's pretty thick and feels good. All the stitching looks good. And with how well it fits, you know, I think they really use some decent materials here. And as long as you take care of it, no reason this shouldn't last for a long time. Other than that, at the end of the day, it's going to be a great economical choice to, you know, help keep your stuff protected and add a little bit of style to your Maverick. As far as the installation goes, really not bad at all. More or less put the actual cover up there. You got your rails that kind of plug into it, set in place, clamp it down, a couple small adjustments, and you're good to go. So shouldn't really give you too many issues, but if you're going to be doing this yourself, feel free to hang around. We'll go ahead and get started on it now. So you begin our installation. We're going to be here in the bed of our Maverick, and we're going to be working up towards the front here by the bulkhead. And along this top edge here, we need to apply some foam tape as a sealer. So make sure that this surface is nice and clean. You know, you can rub it down with some rubbing alcohol and let it dry before you put the tape on. We're gonna run our tape from edge to edge, and we're gonna put it on this side, all right, or closer to the back of the truck there. So we'll just get it lined on up and run it all the way down. Got our foam tape over to the other edge. I just cut it to length, and we'll have this backing paper on there. Go ahead and get that removed. You can grab the rails now, and on one end of them, it's gonna look like this. And they're gonna give you a pack of foam. You wanna use the ones that have a little notch in it like that. And these are just gonna line up. We'll do this to both rails, the driver and passenger side. You can grab your cover now and lay it across the bed, and the side that has these little straps with the hooks coming off, and this piece of aluminum here that runs across that is gonna sit up closest towards the front of the truck. And so we'll just roughly get it into position here. You can grab your rails now, and these are gonna be side specific, so make sure to check your instructions and make sure you got the right one. But the way these are gonna work, these end caps are gonna plug into this piece of aluminum. So we'll snap those together, do the same thing for the other side of our truck. We can take our clamps now and get the rails loosely clamped to the top of our bed. With these, ideally you're gonna want one towards the very back, towards the very front, and one in the middle. So you have 3 clamps on each side. And the way these are gonna work, these little grooves here are gonna fall into the grooves there on the cover. Just take your bolt. Get that started. We're just gonna get them hand tight for now. Here's how I got these clamps set up. Did what we talked about, back, middle, and front. And then you're gonna do the same exact thing over on the passenger side. At this point, you just wanna do a visual check, make sure that the rails look square and everything. And we'll unroll our cover here, just see where it falls. When you're doing this, when you go to lock this down, I'm not actually going to lock it, just push down on it. You're gonna feel some tension, that's normal because it's stretching the cover tight. But more or less what I'm doing is just visually checking, making sure that it's going to actually come past the top of our tailgate here. That way it'll seal everything up. So everything looks pretty good, and we'll unroll it. One of the things that you can check for while you're doing this is to make sure that none of the bows, these reinforcements here, are gonna land on top of the clamps. So I think we're in pretty good shape all the way forward. If you're happy with how the cover sits and you don't need to make any adjustments, you can torque all these down. If you do need to make an adjustment, since they're hand tight, loosen them up. You can bump the rails in or out or whatever you need to do. But we're in good shape. So I'll use my torque wrench. And you can find the specification and the instructions. If you roll the cover back, you'll notice on the very ends here, there's some more plastic. And they give you some more foam tape that's gonna match that same shape. And so we'll just apply it there as well. Now you wanna take the cover, and the end of it is going to go into these little tracks here on each side. You wanna do this with the tailgate open. Actually pull it down until it locks into place. From there, just take your cover and push it down onto the hook and loop strap. that runs along the side of our rail. With that all done though, and close up our tailgate. That's really all there is to it. But with that done, that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Truxedo TruXport soft roll-up tonneau cover on our 2024 Ford Maverick.